Join us for a special episode of the Drexel InterView that we are broadcasting from the Rosenbach Museum and Library in Philadelphia. The topic today is the justice of memory, evaluating monuments in a changing culture. Our panelists will discuss the controversy over whether certain monuments connected to our nation's vexed history should be taken down or allowed to stand.
I mean, it's an unbelievably polarized, fraught, and contentious time. It is a deeply, deeply divided and contentious moment that we're living in. We've had them before, but part of the contention involves the very definition of who we are. So to me, it makes absolute sense that we'd be fighting over monuments because that's a proxy for trying to figure out who we are as a people.
Yeah, in order for that to happen, there's a period of deconstruction, and so there's a breaking down of what we thought did represent us. But now, as we start to re-examine what is equity, what is representation, what do these terms mean? It's like as a country, we're having an identity crisis, and it's good, and it's painful, and it's difficult, and it's hard. But these are questions that we have to be asking ourselves.
And who are we?
And who are we?
Because when we put up monuments, it wasn't all we. So that's part of what we're
Interesting. Okay. So let's get to specific cases here. I'll give you three, and I wonder what your response will be. Many of the most fraught cases have involved individuals that were linked to slave culture. I mean, we have other instances of controversy, but three that come to mind: a mural was taken down of Woodrow Wilson at Princeton University, Calhoun College at Yale, named after the strident pro-slavery politician John C. Calhoun, was renamed. Various Civil War monuments have been taken down in the South with Confederate flags following suit in some cases. My question is, do you agree with all of these actions, some of these actions? Your thoughts about what else or what more you feel should be done?
Let me say that there's no serious historian that denies the fact that these monuments that you're referring to on the Confederate side are symbols of white supremacy. If you look at the record of when they were erected, most of them were put up not right after the Civil War, but during the era of Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. And the idea, quite specifically and deliberately, was to burnish slavery and to buttress segregation. That was the point. And again, I know it's a diverse country and there's some people that will disagree with what I just said, but there's really no credible historian now who does. So that's not an interesting question. Do they represent white supremacy? To me, the interesting question is what to do with them. And I would suggest that we may not be doing the cause of fighting white supremacy any help by removing them from our landscapes. Because I think that can create its own kind of forgetfulness. To me, the challenge is to try to recontextualize them so we learn from them.
This question of, is somebody a racist, and then therefore what? Well, what
about
white supremacy and what? I mean, the United States of America was built on white supremacy. George Washington, Jefferson, it was built specifically on the idea that these people who were landed gentry were the correct and proper people to lead the country. That's the deal. Mm-hmm. So the idea that we're going to pick and choose and say these people were white supremacists and these people were, it feels to me like a false narrative.
Are you getting closer in saying that to what you really think about this whole thing as you're speaking?
Getting closer to what I really think? You want to know what I really think?
No.
Yeah, because we could go right.
No, you said you're very
ambivalent
about the taking down or the leaving up. And so I'm wondering, and when you're saying this, is this slippery slope sort of thing about should we take it all down? Should we change all the names? What you're saying is it's built on this premise. Right. So where do we stop, and it's about teaching history properly, isn't it?
I think we're fighting because we're fighting about changing today. Mm. We're fighting about, as we have over and over and over, we're fighting about power and access to power and access to full citizenship in the United States. And we fight about it, and then there's clawback, and we push forward, and this is what we do.